One of the most important things you can do if you're starting to write is to get over the fear of the blank page. And there are lots of different ways of doing this. I think the fear of the blank page isn't to do with the blank page at all. It's to do with the idea in our head that tells us, well, you can't write. What are you writing for? Haven't you got better things to be doing? That kind of negative critical voice that tells us not to even start. But yes, having a blank page in front of us can feel intimidating if we're just starting. So here are some ways that you can get over that. One is simply to make lists. I love doing this because you don't have to worry about making sense or creating sentences, and also you can do it wherever you are. Go through all of your senses and decide what you can hear. Well, I just heard a dog barking, for instance. I don't know if you heard that. What texture would you feel if you put your hand out and touch something? I can feel my desk and it feels very cold because it's snowing outside. What can you smell? Well, it smells kind of woody. There's that kind of woody smell inside my writing shed. So it doesn't even have to be anything particularly precise as long as you can make a list out of it. And then what can you see? I can see books and folders. I can see pictures on my wall, picture of my son on the beach. I can see my photos. If I look out of the window, I can see snow on the trees. It's gone a bit dark now, so you might not be able to see that. Doesn't have to be anything profound, you're simply making a list. What else can you do? You can set a timer for a minute at first and then maybe put it up to 5 minutes next time. Pick up a pen or put your fingers on the keyboard and just keep writing, even if you write rubbish, even if you write swear words over and over again, even if you write rubbish, or why. Keep writing until that timer goes off. And again, you can combine that with the first exercise. You can simply write what's around you in the room or wherever you are. Or you can take your imagination on a flight of fancy. Write whatever's in your head as long as you keep going until that time is up. Now that's one way I find helps to generate ideas. But I quite often come up with characters using that timed writing, but I'll keep going and going until I come up with something interesting. The interesting stuff often doesn't come out until you've been doing it for a while, but that's okay. But it definitely helps you get over the fear of the blank page. What else can you do? Well, you can do something that Julia Cameron calls filling the well, where you deliberately go out and have an experience in order to be able to write about it. Now you can find more resources on her website about what filling the well actually is, so I won't go into what Julia Cameron says right now, but let's talk about how we could just use the technique but use it in the current situation where things are very difficult and we can't really go out. Well, you can stand looking out of your window. You can stand in your garden if you've got one, or in your balcony. If you do take a daily exercise, you can be hyper aware of what's around you during that time. We quite often go for a walk in our local graveyard because it's just down the road for us, and it creates a nice circuit for us to go round, and there's lots of old gravestones there and lots of nature that we can observe. We've seen lots of different kinds of birds there, for instance. So it's about being mindful of the experience that you're having, even if it's a really mundane experience. And I have got a point, and my point is that you then simply tell yourself to describe whatever it was, looking out of the window, going on your daily exercise or your walk, or standing in your garden. You describe that, and then the page suddenly isn't blank anymore. So that's 3 ways of getting over fear of the blank page. Making lists. It can be lists of anything. And then who knows, later they might create interesting ideas for you. What we call free writing, but writing without stopping. But I'm suggesting that you add a time constraint to that and then see what you've got. And again, you don't have to make sense. And deliberately experiencing something. And in the current situation, that can be as simple as looking out of your window or standing outside your front door. Deliberately experiencing something and then writing about it, and suddenly the page isn't blank anymore. So I hope that helps with fear of the blank page. By the way, Natalie Goldberg says, with that critical voice in your head telling you that you can't write, that you should get over yourself, you just stop doing it, forget about it, you're never going to be able to write. Natalie Goldberg says, just learn to observe it, know that it's there, accept that it's there, And then you can just start laughing at it. Just leave it to prattle away in the background. I'm not quoting her directly, but this is the essence of what she says. So it's not that we try and push the critical voice away, but we try and accept that it's there, that everybody has it, and use practical techniques to help us to start writing. And then hopefully once you've generated some ideas, you can forget about the fact the critical voice is there. Just let it sit there like a parrot on your shoulder, but carry on writing.